individuals. So I was in a transition period in my life and I came across the community engagement job with Special Olympics Florida, and it was literally the perfect combination of everything I could have imagined in a dream job. And so I applied, and throughout the process, it was nerve-wracking and exciting. And I got the job, and I've been loving it ever since, and so excited to be a part of the Special Olympics Florida family.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yes.
Thank you.
The next question for you is, what are your roles and responsibilities within Special Olympics Florida?
So I wear a lot of hats. Community engagement is a wonderful position because it really gives me the opportunity to interact with every department within Special Olympics Florida. I also love my job because I get to be very hands-on with the athletes and their families, which is amazing. I do a lot of different things as far as volunteer recruitment. So when we have our sporting events and different other events that we host throughout the year, making sure that we have those day of volunteers there to support our athletes and to support our staff and make sure our competitions run as smooth as possible and that our other events run really smoothly. I also work with athlete leadership, which is one of my major passions, and I really enjoy with my teaching background as well. So I work with athlete leaders here in our Area 5 area, and we have town halls that we do bi-monthly, as well as our Area 5 meeting that we do bi-monthly as well. And we work on lots of different things. We work on job skills, we work on social skills, we work on being advocates for Special Olympics Florida, sharing their stories, and really just getting our athletes out into the community as public speakers, and to really just share the mission of Special Olympics Florida and how it's impacted their lives and how they have also impacted Special Olympics Florida. I also work with social media. So I run our social pages, which is a blast. It's also a great way for me to share our athletes' stories, their family stories, and just kind of what we have going on here in the West Coast region. So I do a little bit of everything, and it all intertwines beautifully in the end. So
Do you
Okay.
also
So
have
that goes, go.
do you also have to work with corporate sponsors as well in the community?
yeah, so that's a little bit of what I do with volunteer recruitment. So we have lots of big groups that come out and volunteer, corporate partners that put on different events for our athletes, and they'll ask to have speakers come out, and we get our athletes out to their events as well. So that is another part of the job too.
Okay, I want to ask you, Megan, what part of your job is the most like rewarding to you or the most meaningful to you?
Ooh, that is a tough question. I would say the most rewarding or meaningful part of my job is probably athlete leadership, just because it really helps our athletes find opportunities that will help them throughout the duration of their life. It helps give them a sense of independence, and it really is the best method for driving the mission of Special Olympics Florida. The athletes and their stories are so inspirational, and being able to connect them with different people that will allow them to get their voices heard is probably the most meaningful part of my job.
Okay, perfect. Okay, do you have any personal connection to people with intellectual or developmental disabilities?
Yeah, so kind of what really taking myself back to high school, I got involved with the Best Buddies program. My
Mhm.
favorite cheerleading coach that I had, she ran the Best Buddies program at our high school, and she always encouraged us to get involved. And I have many friends that I made through the program that I still talk to this day, and some that even went to USF with me from high school and continued education there. So go Bulls.
Yes,
And
go
so
Bulls.
my connection with individuals with intellectual disabilities really started all the way back in high school, and it's been one of my biggest passions that I've had. So personally, it kind of started way back when.
That sounds similar to my story. I was letting Sarah know when we first met that I had a godbrother that is, well, I have a godbrother that's severely autistic. And, we were just talking about inclusion and how some people don't have those type of relationships or friendships, or see people like that, and they just don't know. So, yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm,
I feel like when you just being in this role so far, it's really
mhm,
interesting when you meet different people and even some of our day of volunteers. That's one of my
mhm,
favorite things to ask them is
mhm.
like, what brought you to Special Olympics Florida? Because there's always some connection somehow that is their driving force and their passion for our mission. So that's a great question because that's something that I even ask our day of volunteers too.
Yes. Yeah, and my godmother, she is a really big educator, and just seeing how she takes care of her son with special needs and just the milestones he's reached, it's just amazing.
Yeah,
That was a previous
definitely.
episode of our podcast. So if you would like to learn more about that, go
Mhm.
to the channel and watch that episode of the podcast.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. I'll have
Okay.
to check that out for sure.
Yes. It's an amazing podcast. Okay.
The next question I have is, what impact do you see the Special Olympics Florida programming have on the lives of the athletes?
Yeah, so this is a great question because I feel like when people hear about Special Olympics Florida, it is obviously one of the first thing that comes to mind are our amazing sport programs. We offer all of our sport programs. I think here in the state of Florida, we have over 20 sports offered, all at no cost to our athletes and their families, which is incredible. But at Special Olympics Florida, we have so many other programs that go way deeper than sports. One of our biggest programs that we have that's a huge benefit to our athletes and families is our health programs called Healthy Athletes. And so, what that is we have health services at our sport competitions and other events that are at no cost to athletes and families, and a lot of times provides them with care that they wouldn't receive otherwise. And it's so important because not only does it provide our athletes with those resources, but also those health volunteers that are coming in to work with our athletes. It really gives them experience of caring for individuals with intellectual disabilities, which is so important in the health community, just because it's not something I feel like is widely talked about and so important for them to be provided with the same level of care as anybody else. So our Special Olympics Florida programs offer health, and then, kind of like we already touched on, our athlete leadership program, which really just drives home our mission even further of providing speaking engagements, opportunities to get out into the community and really collaborate with other individuals and have social outings and just really have a place to be that voice within Special Olympics Florida. So there's so many ways that programmings provide opportunities for our athletes and families.
Okay, perfect. In your opinion, how does the public perceive Special Olympics Florida?
I think the public perceives Special Olympics Florida. I mean, I can go back to even my own perception before I was employed with Special Olympics Florida. I always was so impressed just by the amount of resources and the extension to how far it goes. I mean, even beyond just the state of Florida, it's like Special Olympics International, Special Olympics North America. It is such a big mission, and everybody is on the same page with just really providing opportunities for individuals with intellectual disabilities to compete, perform, and just really thrive at the level of anybody else and interact with individuals with and without intellectual disabilities. So I think the perception is really just a very inclusive, inspiring movement. And I think just from a volunteer perspective of people we bring in, once you dip your toes in the
Mhm.
water, you're hooked. Like you want to come back, you want to see those athletes come back from year to year. And it's really an opportunity where you just make connections that last a lifetime and memories that last a lifetime as well.
One
Oh,
of my
wow.
biggest memories with that
Mhm,
is I will always remember this. I was in Global Messenger training 2018, and one of the things they talked about is you have to sometimes change the general public's mind, because the general public's mind sometimes is they think of Special Olympics as a once a year track meet for Down syndrome,
Hmm.
which it is. They get the picture of the athlete crossing the finish line. That's only 1/100th of what Special Olympics actually offers.
Yes, that was going to be my next question. So, there, like, what are the common misconceptions? So that's they feel like it's just a annual event and it just stops there. So, how do you guys correct or address those like misunderstandings? Do you guys like take the time on the spot to inform people, to give them information about the organization, or do you guys tell them to, check the website or go on your social media accounts?
Yeah, that this is awesome, and I think this is one of the biggest parts of community engagement as well. And I think our the answer to that would be just getting out into the community by doing our tabling events and going to different schools, going to different organizations, different companies, and really just sharing our information right there on the spot, because it is definitely a misconception. I mean, I think many people think of the regular Olympics and you see the
Hmm.
one big event and they don't, understand that we're seasonal. So we have sports and our health programs that happen year round, nonstop. Our athletes are always involved in doing something, and even our athlete leadership program that's year round as well. So I think just really getting out into the community and doing those events, and our athletes and athlete leaders getting out into the community and verbally sharing that information as well is huge. So I think just word of mouth and really providing those detailed information is a huge part into kind of getting rid of those misconceptions.
Oh, wow.
Information
So
is
have you,
power.
I believe that as
Yes,
well. So have
absolutely.
you seen somebody's perception like completely change after they volunteered?
Absolutely. I think like one of the most valuable parts of volunteerism is getting involved in a mission and really being passionate about what you're doing. And I have seen volunteers, young and old, come in, literally volunteer for their first time, and they are at every single event we have for the rest of the year. Just because it's so inspiring to see what our athletes are doing. It's incredible. I mean, we have athletes achieving more than I think neurotypical individuals would accomplish. So it's incredible. They're hooked once they come in, and it's really a family. It's a big community, and you just want to keep coming back.
Okay, I love to hear in like the Tampa area, the community is getting involved.
Yeah, we have a huge group of dedicated volunteers that come and really interact with our athletes and families, and they're consistent. They come back on a regular basis as well.
Do people make lifelong friends within Special Olympics?
Oh, absolutely. This is a great question because there's no cap to age. So we have young athletes, we have older athletes, we have athletes that have been involved with Special Olympics for over 30 plus years, and they really do build friendships and marriages and just amazing relationships that last so far beyond just the initial, sport that they may be doing or first athlete
Mhm.
leadership town hall that they're attending. It really provides our athletes with the opportunity to make connections that last a lifetime.
I want to talk a little bit about the Unified Champion Schools program. How does that impact, I would say, not just the Tampa Bay area schools, but in the whole state of Florida? How does Unified Champion Schools impact the community at the school level?
Yeah, absolutely. It really just takes the mission of Special Olympics Florida and gives it the opportunity to get into our school programs and really build it up from there. And it gives the schools an opportunity to get involved, spread the word of inclusion, and really drive it home, not just from our practices and opportunities outside, but also bringing it into our schools as well. And we have great programs for really young kids up to, right before you age out of high school. And it gets, the athletes really involved with the general population, and having things such as unified partners where they are paired up with general population athletes and they compete together all the way up to the FHSAA state level, as well as all the way down to our culminating events at the schools, which are all incredible. So that's another great way that the Special Olympics goes not just beyond our outside competitions and sports, but
Hmm.
into our school programs as well.
How
That's
would you
amazing because I'm sorry, we were talking about that in our last podcast and about how just getting children with intellectual developmental disabilities early, getting them into programs, getting them into therapies and things like that, and how it shapes their like self-concept, self-esteem, their independence once they get older. So would you recommend for, people to get involved very early?
Absolutely. I think the earlier the better. And like you said, it does not matter verbal, nonverbal, physical disability, intellectual disability. If you get started and find your community as early as possible, have the support that you need to thrive, anybody and everybody can be successful and accomplish any dream that they put their mind to. So it just really provides a sense of community and a
Mhm.
lot of resources to help any individual get to where they want to be.
Okay.
how how do you feel the general public of the Tampa Bay area perceives Special Olympics?
I think incredible. Anywhere we go, I mean, even when I'm not doing a Special Olympics Florida event, if I'm wearing my Special Olympics Florida shirt, if I just got off work, I have my polo on, and I think Sarah, you can attest to this as well. Everybody wants to ask you questions. How do I
Hmm.
get involved? What can I do to help? How can I come out to an event? Like it, just from walking into my local grocery store, everybody wants to know about Special Olympics Florida. Everybody wants to know our mission, what we do. And so I think the general population really appreciates what we do and wants to get as involved as possible. We have so many great partners and organizations that work with us as well here in the Tampa area, and we're so thankful and grateful to be able to, have those relationships to provide our athletes with incredible opportunities. So I think the Tampa area is incredibly supportive of our mission and what we do.
Where should
Yeah.
people go if they are interested in volunteering for Special Olympics, whether or not they are from the Tampa Bay area or not? How should they go about getting involved?
Yeah, so our web page, Special Olympics Florida, and then West Coast region, we always have our most up-to-date volunteer opportunities listed. It's as easy as clicking a link, and all you have to do is just sign up on there. Nothing is required to be a volunteer, a day of volunteer at an event. The only thing that we require is a Class B waiver form. Nobody needs experience. Nobody needs to be educated in anything. You just have to have the heart for volunteerism and want to come out and see what we're all about. So it's really easy to get involved.
Wow, love that. So, because our global goal is reducing inequalities, this next question is for you. What does inclusion look like to you? Like in a
Inclusion to
perfect
me,
utopian
yeah,
world, what would that look like?
inclusion to me looks like any individual with an intellectual disability having no fear or no worry about walking out into their world and wanting to do anything that they strive to do. Like they shouldn't nobody should feel scared of what anybody's going to think or afraid of not being accepted. Like I think if we really build a population where every individual, regardless of what you look like, regardless of if what you can do, anything like that, everybody should feel like they can accomplish anything they want to. To me, a perfect world of inclusion is no fear, no prior worry about being accepted anywhere you go or do wanting to do anything you want to do.
Okay,
What
so
success
can you
do
think
you
of a,
think?
oh, sorry, you go first.
It's okay.
We all trying to rush to ask you questions, but can you
That's
think of a
okay.
time? Yes, can you think of a time you saw inclusion make a difference, like within like an athlete or family, like kind of outside of the organization, maybe in their personal lives or just,
Yeah. No, absolutely. So, I think for me, so far, I would say probably the biggest thing I've seen, I know we kind of said outside of the organization, but something that comes to my mind right off the bat
Hmm.
is we do this event. It's USF Victory Day. We do it with the USF football team every year for the past 3 years, I want to say. And it really is, first of all, wonderful to see our athletes and their athletes come together and do different activities. And you wouldn't even be able to know who is a Special Olympics athlete and who's not because they're just so
Hmm.
inclusive in that event. But there are a couple players that have really made lasting relationships with our athletes, and to me, like, that goes so far beyond the event, like talking on a regular basis, coming to the games, seeing them at the games, and like they don't have to do those things. That is just genuine personal connections that are made. And like I've seen some of our athletes, like, who are most of the time nonverbal,
Hmm.
speaking, interacting, like those relationships that they built on just that day that extended so far beyond that really helps them just to feel comfortable in their own skin and really want to remain having that connection that was so meaningful and so valuable to them. And to me, that was just probably the most incredible thing I've ever seen, because you see somebody that doesn't want to talk, doesn't want to like interact, and
Hmm.
one person, just one person, can change everything for them. And I think that's so incredible to see. And just from my personal perspective, one of the most amazing things I've seen come out of an event or any type of interaction so far.
Okay, so we talk a lot about independence and people with special needs having independence, but what I'm hearing is community and fellowship is also good as well. So I love that.
I have
Yeah,
another question.
absolutely.
What steps do you think we need to take to make our society more inclusive?
I think, one, it's very simple. I think people just need to talk to other people. I feel like we live in a world where we're so afraid of differences, and it can't be like that. We all have our own issues. We all have things that we're afraid of, things that we're self-conscious of, and I think we're so afraid to break that barrier of interacting with people that are different than ourselves. And if we can just go far beyond that and really just talk to one another, be on somebody else's level. It means so much for somebody to just interact with another person with intellectual disabilities or somebody that's neurotypical. It you don't know how it impacts somebody else's day to say, "Hi, how are you? Can I learn more about you?" Smile at somebody, wave at somebody. I think we just need to be willing to learn about differences. We need to be willing to really appreciate differences and understand that that doesn't determine anybody's ability to do or achieve anything.
I agree. Just simply just being kind, even if you don't know, even if you don't have experiences, like you said, smiling, speaking to somebody, being kind can go a long way.
Absolutely. It's real, and it sounds like, I feel like when you think about it, it seems so hard, but it's really not. It's such a like simple answer. Like just be willing to be accepting of
Hmm.
differences. Be accepting of who people are, and we're all not the same. So I think if everybody tried to do that every day, our world of inclusion would look so different.
Yes.
Is
So
there
that was
anything
our
else? Is there
right.
anything else you
Would
would
like
like
our
to share
listeners
with
to
us?
know.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, I want to say, asked incredible questions. And I
Thank
think what you're
you.
doing is amazing. And I am just super thankful. I mean, just my relationship with Sarah since I started working here, she's taught me so much. And I have learned incredible things from all my athlete leaders that I'm associated with, all of our athletes, our Special Olympics Florida staff. And it's just wonderful what you guys are doing and allowing people to really, spread the word and share their stories, I think is so valuable. So I really appreciate you guys having me, and wonderful questions and conversation.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much,
much.
Megan.
Thank you. And
Absolutely.
knowledge is power. I want my listeners to remember that knowledge is power. So, and it doesn't take anything to be kind. It will really change not just your local area, but it can change the world. You can be the example. So, we're logging off. This is your host, Mackenzie Lampkins.
And this is Sarah Parker. And if you would like to learn more about Special Olympics Florida, you can click the link to the website that's going to be available in the podcast notes. Thank you so much for listening to us today. Bye, Megan. Thank you so much for being here.
Bye,
Thank you guys for
Megan.
having me. Bye.
Bye.